New week, and I'm super delighted to be here again. It's been an eventful week, and I'd say I'm very delighted to be here. And of course, we're also going to be discussing another interesting topic today. Sorry, that's actually my baby, so I'm actually shooting this video from home. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ bá mi attend to ọmọ yẹn, ẹ jọ̀ọ́. So we are going to be discussing how to position your real estate investment. So it promises to be another insightful episode discussion today. Um, it's been an eventful week, and actually my car was vandalized, and that was one of the reasons why I did not come online as promised on Wednesday. And we're still trying to see how we can rectify. We have to do a lot of reporting to the police, giving them a situation of where we park the car, and allow the security officials to do their work, to do their needful. Of course, this is one of the things that we encounter in the area of trying to give you the best real estate investment in Lagos, Nigeria. Today's topic is going to be an eye opener, like it has always been, and we're not going to be leaving any stones unturned. But I'll be going fully into the conversation when I have 5 people join this broadcast today. So I want you all to join this broadcast wherever you are watching us from. I want us to have as many people as possible. So join this broadcast. Let's have an interactive session. So today I'm going to be talking about how to position your real estate investment in 2025. We're going to be looking at the top trending real estate industry. We're going to also be looking at investment options, and in conclusion, we're also going to be addressing, the issue of housing crisis, or should we say, housing deficit in Lagos, Nigeria. So this is what we're going to be doing today, and by God's grace, by tomorrow, I'm also going to be live, and I'll be explaining documentation, important documentation clauses that every real estate investment must know. Okay, in case you're joining this live, thank you very much. For those who are joining this live, just as you're joining, just double tap, like it. You can share it so that this video will get to meet as many people as possible. So I'm going to be sharing this broadcast so that many people can join us, and let's quickly look at the important topic. So let's talk about how to position your 2025 real estate investment in Lagos. Okay, the topic is actually in Lagos, but we're also going to be looking at other places as well. But obviously, Lagos is our area, our major area of emphasis. Okay, so so we're going to be looking at Lagos and other states. So um, it's going to be an insightful episode, I can assure you. So you can be rest assured that you're going to get the best. So positioning. I did a video I think 2 years ago where I was talking about um, the major issues that confront real estate investment in Lagos, and I also gave different case studies of how a diasporan, okay, bought a property in anticipation that she's coming to start building the property. One of the things I've come to realize in this industry basically is that you cannot rule the fact that there is desperation among some real estate practitioners. And then this desperation has warranted or has led to situations um, that have made people to buy what they don't need. And it's because of the fact that, despite the fact that a whole lot of real estate investors have been having these similar issues, it's quite unfortunate that we are still having the issue of teaching people the important essence of positioning. And that is one of the things I'll be discussing today. So I'm going to be talking about how to position your real estate investment in 2025. So in other words, we'll be talking about key major locations that every real estate investor must put into consideration as we do the 2025 real estate investment year. I want to start by saying a very big thank you to everybody that has been following our videos, for everybody that has been spending their time watching our videos, sharing our videos, for everybody that have called us to give us word of inquiries, word of encouragement. Thank you. Um, we are looking forward to helping you get the best. It's not just about investing, it's about you getting the best. And if you don't understand some of the basic um, terminologies and the things that regards real estate investments, you may still be doing it right in anticipation that you are doing the right thing. And sometimes I've seen instances of desperations. I've seen instances of people calling or saying things the way they are not, simply because they want you to invest with them. So I'm going to be talking about positioning. Now, your real estate investment must respond to the urgent need of Nigerians. And a lot of people may be asking me the questions. So when you say it must respond to the urgent needs of Nigeria, so what exactly are the urgent needs of Nigeria? Housing deficit in Lagos is more than 50%. Housing deficit in Nigeria as a whole has increased astronomically. And whether we like it or not, we need to understand basically that the housing business, as far as Lagos, Nigeria is concerned. Now, I decided to use that phrase business simply because I want all our real estate investors to understand the basic informations about investing in Lagos, Nigeria. Sorry, I'm trying to get something. Yes. So we're going to be talking about that. So housing deficit is over 3 million. Now, they've made a cautious effort from government, on the part of Lagos State government, to try everything they could, okay, to astronomically reduce the housing deficit. And I would say basically that both the government and the private sector have been working tirelessly in order to ensure that there are some policies that can be done, okay, so that people can have their home investments. Now, when you're now doing positioning, okay, your real estate investment should be a problem-solving investment. I'm going to explain that. You should not just invest in anticipation that I only want to reside. Because what may be, okay, your own level of taste, your own level of need, your desire to own, may not be another person's taste or need. And I say, for every real estate investment you are making in Nigeria, all your investment must be answerable to the present demands and problems that we have. Now, I've talked about shortlet investment in Lagos. I've talked about land banking investment in Lagos. But the first key area that I'm going to be talking about today is in the area of what? Food production. At the moment right now, the cost of food in Nigeria is high, very high, to the point that it's only a few that can afford to feed themselves. Now, a lot of people have blamed that on perhaps, okay, the economic policies of this present administration. A lot of people have said, okay, it's due to the fact that there are some security challenges in some part of Nigeria, the northeast, the northwest, the north central. A lot of people have attributed this. Now, whatsoever could be the cause, okay, of shortage of food, one thing is very, very certain. There is shortage of food in Lagos, and the available foods that we have is very, very expensive. So when you want to position, you should be looking at how your investment can address the issue of food shortage in Lagos or in Nigeria as a whole. Now, I also want you to understand basically that for every problem that you solve, there is always a reward for it. Now, for every problem that Nigerians encounter, is always a problem. It's always an avenue for you to make money. That's just a fact. So you want to look at the area of food production and how your real estate investment can address that. Now, if your investment successfully addresses that, you can be rest assured that you will make good return on your real estate investment in Lagos. Now, your real estate investment also should also address the issue of housing deficit. That means the shortage of houses in Lagos and Nigeria as a whole. Now, you will agree with me that there have been increasing urbanization in Lagos. Even the Lagos State government or the Lagos State Department or Ministry of Statistics, okay, cannot even accurately give us the figures, okay, of people who migrate to Lagos either on a monthly basis or annually. But they've actually estimated it to be like 500,000 people migrate to Lagos on a monthly basis. Now, that is to say that that does not mean that 500 is the accurate figure. It can be maybe an estimated figure, but the saddest part of all is due to the fact that there is no statistical data or statistical representation that can give us, the level of people that are migrating to Lagos. But one thing I want you to understand is that people are coming to Lagos in search of greener pasture. So regardless of the news you get to hear about Nigeria, regardless of what has been happening, it is very important that as a real estate investor, you need to look above the circumstances and the situations, and you now begin to see the opportunities that are in the real estate investment sector. So positioning now, if I am to be your real estate advisor, someone who is going to handle your real estate investments, my area of emphasis basically will be structured on how we can maximize these parts, okay, so that you can make money and at the same time solve the problems that Nigerians and of course Lagosians are going through. So how should you position, or what can you be part of? The first thing you need to understand basically is that looking at food production, you can look at food production on a small scale, you can look at food production on a large scale. Now, regardless of the fact whether you are in the country or not, is obviously not a factor. I know some diasporans who have been in the US, who have been in Canada, who have been across part of Europe and America, who are making huge amount of money on their farm investments. So what can you do, or what area of agriculture can you look out for? Now, I have consistently recommended that if you are not in the country, I don't always encourage, okay, the ideology of going into livestock production. And the reason why I'm saying that basically is due to the fact that livestock production is a risky investment, and sometimes if you cannot create an effective medium, okay, that can help you track the production, there will be cases of what? Theft and of course corruption in that. However, what can you be part of, or how can you maximize? Now, your investment should be positioned in two ways: agriculture and rental properties. Agriculture and rental properties. Now, what area of agriculture can you invest in? Now, I know some real estate development companies who are selling lands to real estate investors, okay, for them to buy and they cultivate their crops. On the other hand, I've also seen some real estate investors and some real estate development companies who are majorly or licensed for agricultural production, who will sell land and they will help you to cultivate, and they remit your money for you either quarterly, monthly, or annually. So you need to understand that this is how it works. You can choose to go into cassava production. You can choose to go into palm oil production. You can also choose to go into cash crops, cocoa production, sugarcane, and every other thing. Thank you very much, Madam Messi. Thank you very much. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm also going to say that if you're joining this live broadcast, you can drop your comments. You can ask your questions. Of course, I'll be responding to some of the questions I had in my previous video. Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you for joining. Now, so your investment can be done in that thing. Remember, I said, let me quickly remind you that I said your whether you're in the country or not is not a factor. Okay, you can partner with some of these companies. Now, for some of our real estate investors that will be asking questions, I'll be dropping my number, okay, on the comment section so that you can contact me. Is +234 802-132-7360. The number is available on WhatsApp. Okay, of course, I'll drop it in the comment section so that you can ask your question. So, like I said, you can choose to cultivate your land by yourself, or you buy from real estate companies who are majorly into agriculture, and they will cultivate for you on your behalf. So that is one aspect of positioning you should not. Now, the reason why I'm saying that you should look into the area of agriculture is due to the fact that there is food shortages in Nigeria. The cost of food right now is very high, to the point that I've seen even some big real estate developers are also some of these guys are using their ekpe lands right now to plant tomatoes. Some are doing cassava, and they're making a whole lot of money. Now, if you now choose to do the cultivation by yourself, okay, I've been working with some developers, with some families in Abeokuta and also in Ibadan. I actually prefer that Abeokuta because of its close proximity to Ekpe and also to Lagos. So if there's anything, of course, if Ibadan is your own choice of preference, all well and good. So what I'm trying to say in essence basically is that I've been working with some families who are giving us access to acres of lands in the area of Kobakpe area of Abeokuta, the Kusumodi area of Abeokuta, the Alabata. Presently, right now, we're presently negotiating a 50 acres strictly for agriculture, and the negotiation is between the Kobakpe area and the Alabata of Abeokuta, Ogun State. So we're also looking at that. So that's for basically for someone who wants, because I've heard and I've interacted with some real estate investors who says, I want to do this cultivation by myself. If that's your case, of course, we can help you secure your acres, help you do your documentation, and of course, you start your production anytime you want. That's it. So that is in the area of what? Of agriculture. So there are farmlands that if you contact us today, that you can buy and you can start. Now, for some of our viewers who may say, okay, I have my realtors, I have someone I've been working with, and I really want to work with them. Now, I'm going to be highlighting 3 major important things, okay, that you should pay attention to whenever you're choosing your choice of developers to work with. More importantly, if you want to go into agriculture, like I said, you can do agricultural production by yourself. You can do it. I know companies that have been doing palm oil production. I know those who are doing cassava production. I know those who are doing, even there are some real estate companies that are doing livestock production. So there's actually no limitation to what you can do and what you can achieve. But if you want to work with maybe another external real estate consultants who may have knowledge, so these are some of the things you should pay attention to. Now, if it is agriculture, you want to partner with a company who already have who is said to be who is active, sorry, in the agricultural sector, the first thing you want to look out for basically is their record of production. You want to look at their record of production. You want to look at how consistent they have been, okay? Because you see, in as much as fact that agriculture is profitable, one can also lose if you work with the wrong person. So I need to quickly emphasize that. Now, let me also say this. There are some that what they are just selling is they are selling the land to you, okay? And they're saying cultivate it by yourself. I have some couple of real estate developers who are doing that, okay? We have the acres, we're selling to you, you cultivate by yourself. And there are some that are saying buy from us, okay? And they will help you cultivate. Now, if that's the option you're looking at, the most important thing you want to look at for is their record of production, okay? How frequently they've been producing. Number two, you also want to seek and see their insurance, because you see, as profitable as agriculture is, it is also volatile. It's also volatile. So you want to pay attention to a real estate developer who is doing the necessary paperwork. More importantly, ensuring your farmland, so that when it is time for harvest, there won't be stories that touch their heart. So you also want to look at their method of farming. Now, looking at their method of farming, you want to look at their method of production, the number of farmers they have. You also want to look at some of the farming implements they have, like the tractor, because you see, if you want to get the best, okay, if you want to go into farming and you want to get better, you want to, work with a developer who already has a record, you want to look at it, because you see, all these things will determine how successful that farming year will be, okay? Then you also want to run a background check of how frequent they have been remitting, okay, to their investors. So your realtor should be able to look at this and give you a holistic record of some of these things. So that's it. So for real estate investors who may be interested in farming, we have some couple of companies, reputable companies. Some are into cassava production, some are into palm oil production, some are into different aspects of farming. So when we interact, we examine this, and of course we give you information as at when due. So that is number one. So you can go into the area of farming and solve the problem of what? Shortage of food. Now, like I said initially at the commencement of this video, for every problem that you get to solve in Lagos, Nigeria, it's obviously an avenue for you to do what? To make money. The next area of where you should position, okay, is in the area of what? Rental properties. Rental properties. So we have two types or two categories of rental properties. We have rental properties that are based on outright owner. That means you own it forever. And we have rental properties that are based on leasehold. Okay, so I've seen, of course, most of those leasehold properties are presently not on the island at the moment, but we have majority of them on the mainland. And doing leasehold is entirely not a bad idea. The only thing is just that you don't get to own the property for life. You may just have to own it for some 16 years, some 17 years, some 20. I think the least I've seen, or the maximum I've seen, is 22, 23 years. Now, the good thing is that for every leasehold you have, a lot of people do not understand how the cash flow quadrant works. And I'm going to be doing an extensive explanation on it today, so that every real estate investor will have a thorough understanding of some of these things. Now, some of us have bought lands. When I use some of us, because I've also bought as well. So some of us have bought lands in some parts of the Bejuleki. Some have bought, maybe let's say, some bought 2018, some bought 2010, some bought 2008. I'm doing a rough calculation of this. You will agree with me that the land is not generating anything in terms of rent, in terms of resale. Now, an attempt to resell that land is even more difficult because there is obviously nothing that can attract a buyer. The only hope now that we have properties in some of these Ibejuleke axes, I'm talking about the Folu, the Odiomi and the likes, is due to the fact that, thank God for the federal government who is doing a coastal road now. Now you agree with me that you had that land, let's say you owned it for 7 years. Yes, 7 years. Some bought far back in 2010, some bought in 2008. So let's say you own that land far back in, you have it for 7 years. Now that 7 years now, the land has not generated anything. Why? Because there's no infrastructure and many people have bought, okay? The orientation we were given as at that time basically is due to the fact that the land will appreciate. The land will appreciate. Now, the appreciation value, okay, that is now being projected, to me is not realistic. I've said it before. I bought a land for 800,000. Now it's valued for 5 million. Now, the reality basically is that, do you have somebody who you will take there that will count that 5 million and give you? If there is nobody that is willing to pay that purported appreciation value, then the appreciation is not realistic. So we have to be very, very factual with ourselves. We don't need to be, coloring our opinions, our views with unnecessary sentiment. We have to be as open and as realistic as possible. Now, let's now assume we now have a leasehold, okay, on the mainland of 17 years. Let's say you bought the lease 10 million, because that's the lease you will get. Now, you own a lease for 10 million. For 7 years, you have been earning 1.7 million naira on a monthly basis. Do the calculation for 1 year. You would have made back your investment and you would have tripled it. Now, so before the expiration of the lease, you would have gathered enough money to even buy your own outright property. That is how. So we need to understand that there is a way that you can position your investment and still get the best out of it. Now, there's this orientation that, I don't own it forever, I'm not interested. The thing is, the one you have owned forever in all this bush area of Ogun State, all this one that you have bought, what exactly have you done with it? The only people who are actually getting better are those who are using it for cultivation. So instead, okay, of putting large chunk of money into buying bushes that may not be relevant or that may not give you returns, even if you cannot afford to buy 80 million naira 2-bedroom flat, 100 million naira 2-bedroom flat, you can buy a leasehold. If you have multiple leads, okay, there's a way you can structure it that you earn 5 to 10 million naira annually from rent. So instead of me putting 100 million, okay, in some places, I'll mention the name, I'll take that 100 million and get 10 rental properties, and the maximum rent you can get is between 1.5 to 1.6. Now imagine you earning 1.5 on 10 rental properties, and imagine you have a lease year of 17 years. When you do the calculation, you will see that that system is a system whereby your money is working for you, not you working for the money. And this is one of the most investment blueprints that most real estate investors don't understand. So you need to understand basically that positioning, the return on investment that you have always anticipated is solely dependent on the accurate and intelligent investment decisions you are making. So you can look at, so it is not compulsory for you to buy, because right now on the mainland, 2-bedroom, the cheapest 2-bedroom right now is 90 million. It's 90 million. So there are some people who want to earn rental income and they don't have that 90 million. You can get a studio in Yaba, other places, 17 years lease, 20 years lease for 14 million, 15 million, and before the expiration of the 17-20 years lease, you would have recouped your capital, because you see is that there is an existing rental market. There's an existing rental market that's willing to rent your apartment and pay you, and you make your money. So these are, so looking at the rental industry, so it is not a compulsion, okay, for you to buy properties that you will not be able to afford. You can do lease. You have multiple lease, you have recouped your investments, you can add money to it and buy. So that is how the investment blueprint should work. So you should prioritize that, and of course get the best out of your real estate investment. So there are others too. Then the next real estate investment you can also do basically is that there are some key locations right now, okay, in the Bejuleki axis, the Eleko axis right now, that you can buy and you can get return on investments. Okay, there are areas. I'm not talking about those interior in the next 5 to 6 years. No. In this our work, basically what we've been able to do, okay, is that it is very important for us to give you an extensive overview of how some of these things work, so that you can be, okay, in a better position to make an informed, real estate decision. So these are some of the investments you can do. So you can go into rental properties, you can go into this. Okay, so I have some questions already on my phone. Some questions have started coming in, okay, and I'll quickly respond to some of them. I have some questions. So this is just going to be for an hour, and once it's 5 o'clock, we're done. So please, thank you very much. As you're joining this, just double click, like this video, share it, and of course, you can also drop your questions. We're talking about how to position your 2025 real estate investments in Lagos. So there are other investments that I will be talking about, okay. That's going to, I've talked about agriculture, and I've also talked about leasehold, okay. There are other investments that you can do, okay. I'm going to give you a blueprint of how they work, okay. And because of our time, I may not be able to extensively talk and explain some of those things that you need to know, but by the special grace of God, tomorrow same time, 3:30 on this channel, we're going to be talking about how to position in 2025. So we're going to look at other real estate investment options. We're going to look at what joint venture is. We're going to talk about how to maximize the commercial space. We're going to talk about how to portion your rental properties. I'm going to talk about investment. I'm also going to talk about investing in bed spaces, hostel accommodations. So what I'm going to be doing is a practical approach of how these things work, okay, and how you can evaluate them, and of course, choose the one that best works for you. So this question says, the video of the investor from California that our house was demolished because of the ongoing Lagos Calabar coastal road, discouraged investor. Do you still think it's still safe to invest in Nigeria? Wow. Okay, so I'm not going to rush to respond to this question. It is very important that we explain things the way they are, and we also need to give an insightful explanation. So if you have observed from the ways I've been responding to questions from our services, you will accurately agree with me that I don't give pedestrian responses to questions. We give an holistic responses, and of course all our responses are 100% verifiable. If you want to go and verify, I can assure you that you will find them the exact way that we have stated them. So the first thing I should talk about is that my heart goes to those investors whose properties have been demolished. Let me talk about Landmark. I'm also going to talk about the other investors as well. And this is actually my own opinion concerning this. As far as Nigeria is concerned, there are some situations that we can control, and there are some situations that we can't control. One of the things I've come to realize in my years of practicing real estate in Lagos, Nigeria, basically, is that it is very important for you to have a wide knowledge of either future or present infrastructures that the government is planning. Now, you see what has happened in the Lagos Calabar, these demolitions that have followed suit, to me has been an eye opener, and it has given me okay the need or the urgent requirement to work and consult broadly. I'm going to explain what that simply means. Now, when I talk about consulting broadly, what that simply means basically is that whenever you are making your choice of properties, whether it is land, whether it is house, it is very important, okay, that you understand some of the projects that may be coming either now or the future. Now, I knew that there was going to be a coastal road as far back as 2018. I knew. I was so careful not to make investments recommendation in that axis. And the reason why I'm saying this basically is due to the fact that government policies or government decisions can change at any given time. Now, this is not to speak in support of what has happened. A lot of people have said this is injustice, this is the constitution, there is no consumer protection, blah, 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 blah. You know, I've heard a whole, in fact, I got a lot of questions, and I'm so delighted that this particular person, okay, who has chosen that his identity be kept in secrecy, and we're working to that. So, government policies can change as far as construction is concerned. Now, going further to invest in those locations is a clear indicator that you have the nerves, you have the chest, you have the guts to take risk. Investment in life is risk. Waking up and sleeping is also risky. In fact, even leaving your house to go to other places is also risky. So you need to understand that it is risky. And the next thing you also need to do, if it is, if it is compulsory, okay, for you to still embark, okay, on such investment, is that you also want to look at what we call the risk assessment analysis, which a whole lot of people don't put into consideration. Now, your risk assessment reality is talking about how have you assessed that location? What is the length, or what is the total lanes of road to be constructed? What are the required setbacks that has been clearly stipulated by the government? So what I do most times basically is due to the fact that I am aware that anything can happen. Government can say we are doing this coastal road alignment towards the eastern part, and tomorrow they can say we are no longer doing it in the eastern part, we're taking it south, or we're taking it west. So because of the fact that I understand that policy can change, what I do basically is that I stay off that project. Whether it will get there, if it gets there in the future, we are safe. If it doesn't get there in the future, I can tell you categorically that there are some risks I will not take. So what has happened in the Lagos Coastal Road? There was an Arise TV reporter that asked the present Minister of Work, in the person of Mr. Dave Umahi, why are they building, or why are they demolishing? And the man said something. He said, the coastline belongs to the federal government. You see that statement alone like this, as nullify any objection or any reaction or any comments that anybody has. Because you see, in the federal Law Act, the Constitution clearly states that all land belongs to the government. Now, whether it's a lot of people have said they have been chanting, they are doing this, they're discouraging investors. Now, what I will ask you to do, basically, or what I will not encourage you to do, is that you should now use that as a yardstick to determine whether or not to invest in Lagos. The thing basically is that refusing to invest in Lagos, it can be described as a scenario of you choosing not to drink water, knowing fully well that water is one of the basic necessities of life. And your refusal to drink water is now based on the fact that someone you knew drowned while trying to learn how to swim. So like I said, my sympathy goes to all those real estate investors that was affected. But like I said at the commencement of this video, there are situations that we can control and there are situations that are above our control. And once it is government related, they can be categorized as situations that we cannot control. So that is all I have to say. So going forward, now one of the areas where I have been reluctant to sell is the Ado, the riverine area of Aja. For some of us who are familiar with those Ado, Badore, the Bayeku, I said Bayeku is in Ikorodu, the riverine area of Aja. One of the reasons why I've been very, very reluctant basically is that there is a plan, that there is going to be a 4th mainland bridge construction. So it is in the plan already. So if government now says, okay, fine, time has reached for us to do that 4th mainland bridge construction, a lot of houses will go down. A lot of houses will. So what I have done as a real estate practitioner is that, for the fact that I cannot accurately distinguish those areas that will be affected, what I did basically is that if I have an investor who says, hey, I want to buy that location, I'm interested in that location, because of the fact that I cannot tell you where will be affected and where will not be affected, I don't make recommendations of property in that area. Now, this is also a disclaimer. I'm not saying every houses in Ado or Badore area will be destroyed. No, I'm saying that there's a 4th mainland bridge coming there, okay, and certainly there will be destructions. And the same thing is also applicable in the Orchid area of Lekki. There's going to be a bridge, a road alignment that will be coming from Orchid that will join the coastal road. So as I'm talking to you right now, other houses will go. Now, for those areas, I know that they are major projects. So it will not be foolish of me to now say, God will not say they will not come here. It may not be now. Do you understand? It may not be now. But since you are aware that there's a project, if you cannot accurately, predict where this road will pass, the areas that will be affected, okay, just leave it. So that is how I have been handling property recommendations for real estate investors. So in summary, there are situations that we can control and there are situations that we can't control. So for the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, these are part of the situations that we can't control because government still have the final say. Now, this is not a justification that maybe what they did is right or is not right. I honestly cannot say that online, okay? But these are the situations that we can't control. I hope that has answered your question. Okay, I also have another question based on that. This person says, one of the affected persons says they did their due diligence, they approached all government agencies, and their property is still marked for demolition. Can you see that Lagos is still not safe? All right, so I think we are going to spend the remaining minutes we have on this live session to address this. Now, when we talk about doing due diligence, I'm not here to dispute the fact whether what they did was truth or it was a lie. I'm not in any position to say this person is saying the truth, this person is lying. Now, but it still boils down to my previous questions. There are some situations that we can control, and there are some situations we cannot control. And the reason why I'm saying this basically is that, you see, anything beachfront property, lagoon front property, it does not matter the level or the number of due diligence you have done. Just pray that there won't be any government interest. You see, what determines if your due diligence will be validated, if it will be relevant, okay, is that it's still dependent on the government policies and need for that location. So whether you have done diligence or not, what you need to do basically is that even if there's going to be a road construction, I have said it before that if the government's setback rule for that place is 20 meters, okay, if government say, okay, fine, if before you build on this beachfront property, before you build on this lagoon front property, before you build in front of this lake, leave 30 square meter, my brother and my sister. Because you see, the only thing that I'll say is that if government say they are giving you 30 square meter, Bikonu, let me speak Igbo a little bit. Bikonu, add additional 20 square meter to the 30 that government has given. So let it be total of what? 50 square meter. Stay as far as possible from that waterfront. And that's why sometimes I've witnessed scenarios whereby some investors have said, I want my property to be front of, I want to be receiving that early money breeze, that who's. I'll just shake my hand and say, it's like if you do not understand that anything waterfront, there is nothing anybody can do to remove government interest. It may not be now, it may not be immediately, but definitely in the future. The only thing that can save you basically is that you consult widely. Now, talking about consulting widely, what I guess what I mean by that. Now, there are different ministries, okay, that your due diligence must go through. The first thing you want to assert, the authenticity of the document you have been given for that property. So you want to go to the Ministry of Lands, you want to go to the Surveyor General to check. Then you also want to go to town planning, okay, to check your property, the plan planning, and of course you also want to involve the surveyor who can accurately help you. Now, the thing basically is due to the fact that most due diligence are not done consulting. Most people don't consult widely. I'll give a scenario. There was this particular woman who lived in the US, okay, and there's this property she wanted to buy. Okay, this happened, that was around 2 years ago, and she contacted us. She wanted to buy a house, and the real estate developer gave us the survey for the property. He gave us the layout of the property. Okay, he also gave us even all the plans. Now, me looking at the document that was given, if not for the fact that we are experienced, you see, there are some things that will happen that even the person building may not even be aware of his project. So when we started searching, we took it to the appropriate offices. See, 3 offices vetted the house. Okay? And they said that project was complete. The only thing that saved us was that the surveyor said he needed to check because there was a governor's consent on that property. The developer said, the surveyor said, that's why I love my surveyors. My surveyors, you see, they are the people that I can always rely on. The surveyor said, okay, since there's a governor's consent and everything is vetted, he said, let us go and measure the exact dimension of where that house is. And when he picked the coordinates, he picked every other information, we found out that the house was built on a drainage in Lekki. This happened in Lekki. This was 3 ministries in Alausa has vetted it too. The surveyor said, so when we now went back to Alausa, they were now wondering how this guy got a governor's consent. By the time we began to do a lot of due diligence, asking questions, we found out that what the guy had was 4 plots of land. The reason why I give these practical experiences is that I'm not saying what that person said about them doing the diligence is a fact. What I'm saying basically is that there are some due diligence that are not thoroughly done. So it may be that situation. So when we began to dig deeper, we found out that the governor's consent was on 2 plots. The remaining 2 plots was not on the governor's consent because there was a what? There was a drainage. There was a drainage behind after that 2 plots. And someone built a house of 300 million. And that's what we got to find out. Whether someone else bought that property or another person for victims, that's what I don't know. And that's how we found out. If that woman had bought, how would you explain the situation of a house worth 300 million was demolished because it was built on a drainage? And when you go to site, see, it doesn't matter how experienced you seem to, you may want to seem to know in this our industry. There are some flaws that it will only take the grace of God for you to unravel. Everywhere was tarred, everywhere was looking fine, well purified, flowers, paved road. That ambience was there. We did not know that the last unit the one wanted to buy was not inside the governor's consent. And they gave us a governor's consent, they gave us a layout, they gave us everything. See, there are some developers that will know that you want to dig deeper, they will give you documents. It will only take the grace of God for you not to be swindled. So we now found out that last unit was on the drainage. And the developer said, see, this thing, don't mention my name. That even me too have built before I know. But am I going to lose my money? So there are situations like that. And that is why it is very, very important that if you are doing diligence, more importantly in a place where there are government interest in that location. My brother, my sisters, wherever you are watching me, your due diligence. And when I talk about due diligence, due diligence is not cheap. You will pay lawyer. You will pay lawyer. You will pay surveyor. So sometimes when some real estate company says, this is the price of house, this is my agency or my consultant fee. See, sometimes this is the reason why many people buy rubbish. I'll say it online. Many people in Lagos are buying rubbish. The reason why they are buying rubbish is due to the fact that they will leave somebody that will do a good job for them and run after that one that will give them cheap properties, and they will be having issues after purchase. So as far as Lagos State is concerned, the due diligence has to be holistic. Many departments, many agencies must be involved for them to accurately give you the true status of that property you are buying. So it has gone beyond you just taking the deed to allow somebody to go and check. You have to do a thorough assessment of that area so that you can get the true situation of that place. And of course, you can use the opportunity to do what? To make your decisions as well stated. Okay, I still have a few more minutes to go. Thank you very much for those who are just joining. Just double click like this video. You can share. For some of you who have been wondering what we do, we're talking about how to position your real estate investments in 2025. We're talking about the first 2 sectors in Lagos, and of course I don't want this video to be unnecessarily long, so we are just going to talk about 2, and then we'll round off by God's grace tomorrow. Okay, so this live broadcasting continues tomorrow by 3:34. Okay, I'll be on live. I'll be live by 3:30. but we'll be starting in essence by 3:45, 4 o'clock, so that other people can join. Well, I just found out that a lot of people are just joining this broadcast. Okay, so it shows that our audience are always online from this 4-5. So we are going to be putting that into consideration as we talk about tomorrow. So we are talking about the areas of investments, and we are responding to. I was responding to some of the questions that some notable investors asked concerning the demolition of the diaspora, the woman from California whose house was marked for demolition by the federal government, and we've been able to talk extensively on some of those things. That of course the conversation still continues tomorrow. So that's just it. So I'm also going to quickly take 2 questions because our time is up. I have just 5 minutes more. 5 minutes more. If you have missed this live broadcast, of course, please, in case you're watching this video, you are seeing this video for the first time, and you have not subscribed to our channel, be cool now, please. We want you to subscribe. We want you to, and of course, when you subscribe, turn on the notification so that when we come on live or when we drop a video, you get to see. Trust me, all our videos, all our content here are exposing some of the things you don't know about real estate. And the reason basically is that we want to, share more information to our diaspora investors, so that when they are buying, they know, they are aware of some of these things, and of course they will know how to accurately approach this. So that's it. So I'll take one more questions and then we'll call it a wrap. Okay, so this question talks about I heard that government has taken over some lands in Epe. What will now be the fate of some of us that we bought? Okay, what is happening at the moment in Epe is quite unfortunate, and no one foresaw this, and so it is not proper for you to say government have taken all the lands, because we are still awaiting. Because what they are doing basically is that government says that they are putting, they are subdividing Epe into zones, 8 zones, and the first phase of the zone is the Epe Mixed Development Scheme. And what they are trying to say basically is that for real estate developers that have sold to you, government is expecting them to approach them so that they can do the necessary paperwork and then obtain a government allocation title. And now whether or not these developers have responded to this call is what I cannot tell, but I can assure you that many of them are aware of this recent development, and I believe that the ones with integrity will certainly do that which is appropriate. So before you conclude that they have taken your land, let's see, and let's await the outcome of this entire mixed development scheme, so that we can have an accurate understanding of what is going on and how we should respond effectively. So I want to quickly use this medium to say a very big thank you to everybody who have joined this live broadcast. I appreciate this. Please join us tomorrow as we talk about how to position your investments in Lagos part 2. And I said I'll be touching other areas of real estate investments. Today I talked about agricultural land, and I also talk about leasehold. Tomorrow I'm also going to be talking extensively on other aspects of real estate development, talking about the hostel accommodation, talking about short-let management, short-let ownership. Also been talking about that. So I want to say a very big thank you to everybody who have joined us. God bless you. See you tomorrow by 3:30 p.m. God bless you. Bye for now.